Okay, it'll be a bit of an understatement to say there's been some changes made to pensions, because we all know there have, and they have been significant. And the changes affect people who are accumulating funds for their retirement, whatever retirement means these days, people who are taking funds from their savings, and of course the advisors who give advice to those people, and the institutions who develop and deliver the products that people use to support them in retirement. Lots of change. The difficulty around this change is making decisions. No, I'm going to do that slightly differently. We're living, right? Okay, do that again. Okay, so this is going from the top. Okay, it'd be a bit of an understatement to say there's been some changes on pensions, we all know that. The changes affect individuals saving up for their retirement and individuals taking money to support them in their retirement. The changes, of course, also affect advisors and institutions who develop the products that we use to support us in retirement. Now, as well as the change to legislation, there have been, for some time now, changes to the way in which we live and work and the way in which we retire. Because retirement for many people, for increasing numbers of people, is very different to what it was in the days of our fathers, for example. You know, there isn't a straightforward cliff edge retirement for many. They fade into it, sometimes because they have to, and sometimes just by way of choice, by working just a bit less, doing something different, continuing to earn some income. So their needs in retirement are somewhat different. They don't necessarily need to draw on all of their money all at once. Now, deciding what to do and where to take your money from, if you're lucky enough to have money in retirement, is underpinned by the very difficult concept of uncertainty. There's so many uncertainties that underpin the decisions that we have to make. And these are very hard decisions. There's uncertainty, of course, about how long we're going to live. Longevity is really on our side, if you like, in that most people seem to underestimate, apparently, how long they are going to live for. And that impacts on their financial decision making. You know, thinking, well, I'm going to live till 80, so I need my money for this long, when actually they're going to live for a lot longer than that. You know, how long you're going to live for is one of the key uncertainties in deciding how you're going to take your money and where you're going to take your money from in retirement. Uncertainty about tax, which of course we live with these days. Uncertainty about returns on investments. Uncertainty about annuity rates. So all of these uncertainties, as well as the personal uncertainties about actually when you're going to retire, how much money you need, what you need the money for, how much access to capital you require, and uncertainty about, well, how much you want to leave to your family. So all of this uncertainty leaves us with a very difficult decision-making process. Now, in another part of the financial world, we deal with that, in fact in all parts of the financial world, by adopting a strategy based on balance. You'll be familiar, of course, with the process of asset allocation to deal with the uncertainty about which investment class is going to perform best. You know, we're not quite sure whether equities are going to perform better than gilts, better than cash, better than property, so we take a balanced approach. And I think this, through asset allocation, and this principle of balance is one that is emerging as the answer, and it's a pretty obvious one, to these uncertainties in terms of how to draw your income in retirement. Now a number of people, and particularly the clients of advisors, will reach that stage where, and let's not call it retirement, but where they need to draw on some of their savings to replace or part or all of their income from employment. And at that point, there's a decision to make, because in an old traditional world, you would have thought, well, I took out that pension to provide me an income in retirement, and now I need that income, so I'll take it from the pension, which may well be the worst place to take it from if you have other assets that you could draw on. Because a pension is an incredibly tax-favoured vehicle, and especially in relation to the payments made on death. Payments made before age 75 will be utterly tax-free, and those even after 75 will be free of inheritance tax. So where that's a concern to you, maybe it's best to leave the pension and draw from other assets. Advice is absolutely going to be required in deciding where are the optimum places to draw that money from. But in relation to the pension benefits, when we're looking at what do we do with the pension fund part of my savings pot, then again a balanced or blended approach is likely to be the one that will emerge. A number of the providers of annuities and retirement income solutions are really working around this principle of balance to come out with strategies and propositions. You know, it will be a balance between maybe some fixed term annuities that give you the right to capital back, because one thing that people are probably, well, they are definitely doing less, is buying immediate whole of life annuities at age 65. As someone said to me just last week, 75 is the new 65. So we're not saying there is no place for immediate lifetime annuities. The certainty they give are very difficult to replicate anywhere else, but the time at which they're bought, through a combination of just wanting to defer the decision, annuity rates currently, the fact that annuity rates increase with age, maybe the decision, in fact certainly the decision is being deferred, so that gives rise to this 75 is the new 65. So in their place, what do we do until we reach that age, or when an annuity, a lifetime annuity, becomes an appropriate solution? For some it may never become a solution. What do we do? Well, we start to just draw down on our funds, as we can do much more freely now under the new legislation. We maybe buy a fixed term annuity, maybe a bit of both of those two things, drawing down with a fixed term annuity that returns the capital at the end of a specified term. We may even look at purchasing a kind of a future stake in certainty by buying a deferred annuity, or just wait until the time is more right for us to buy that annuity. But you can see that whatever's right for an individual, it will require inevitably balance, and that balance, arriving at the right balance for you, will definitely require advice. So definitely the winners out of these changes are advisors, as people are definitely going to need it. These are difficult challenges and very difficult to make the right decisions without advice and constant monitoring. So in closing on the importance of balance, I thought I'd do a bit of Googling and looking up some sort of clever quote on balance, and the one that appealed to me was one from Ellen DeGeneres, who said, "My point in life is about balance, the good and the bad, the highs and the lows, the peanut and the colada." She might have been thinking about how to draw down a 401k. I mean, my recollection of Ellen is much more in relation to her stellar performance in the universe of energy, pre-show and show itself, with such incredible phrases as the bing bang, big piece of corn between your teeth, and stupid Judy, which leads us to the question, if you have been to the Epcot Centre, of what is drawdown? Well, what it is a difficult decision-making process, and advice is absolutely going to be necessary.